Hey everybody, this is Frankie Aberzino with the Scoop News. I'm out here with Paul Sloan and we're talking about the medical cannabis clinic that's opening up here in Venice and actually from Fort Myers all the way up to Brandon. So we're going to go ahead and get it started. This is Paul Sloan. Paul, good to see you.
Hey Frankie, good to see you.
Good to see you. Now what happened is I was reading your article today, or not yours, Paul, it was Tom Lyons, and he wrote about the fact that you're opening up in Venice and there's a possible price war because the other only clinic here is going to be at twice as much as you. So let's go ahead and get started right there if you want and just hop into it about Tom Lyons' article.
Well, Tom Lyons is great. I enjoy Tom very much. Have for years. He's a good guy. He runs good stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not looking for a price war. That's not my concept. My concept is to do this at a fair and reasonable price and not take advantage of patients because there's a new pent-up demand for a product that just came out. I've been doing this for a long time through pain management, even low T. Our goal has always been able to do this at an affordable price and not take advantage of people and their desires for a product.
Okay, so that's great. So you're not going to be charging $200 or $250 out there. How can you get by with charging, as your banner says, $125?
Well, it's actually really simple. I mean,
okay.
Medical marijuana is an add-on to what we already do. We have the buildings, we have the licenses, we have everything. There's actually no licensing, but we have everything in place, staff, the whole 9 yards. Adding a new product to an existing clinic doesn't change your overhead. And anybody who says there's overhead involved in doing medical marijuana when they have existing practices in their office is just taking advantage and bullshitting people, excuse my language, but that's what it is. The bottom line is there's nothing to doing this. We're building a record chart, a chart full of your records. We're bringing you in, doing basic exam, and then you're seeing the doctor. And he's confirming the diagnoses of other doctors and your condition. And then with that confirmation, we can issue a qualification for medical marijuana. This is not neurosurgery, and this isn't cardiology. This is a very simple office, vital machine. I mean, we can do an EKG if we have to, but at the end of the day, there's no overhead.
Okay, and it's because it strikes me as though some of the physicians out there possibly are taking advantage of the marketplace, as we see here in Venice, because they realize there's nobody else here and I can go out and charge $250. And being in the business of medical consulting, that's the first thing I thought, wow, that's outrageous for an exam. Because they're basically just coming in and giving you your records and you're looking at the diagnosis and taking it from there.
We're not issuing diagnoses. I mean, There's no way that if you had a gynecologist as the doctor behind the desk is going to diagnose somebody with multiple sclerosis. I mean, these aren't things that are happening. We're looking at records. Even though we have internal medicine doctors, we have emergency doctors, we have anesthesiology and pain management doctors, we're not diagnosing. That's not our job. Our job is to look at the medical records of the people that have treated you, confirm those diagnoses, make sure that you meet the requirements to be qualified for medical marijuana. Okay. This is as simple as it is. And anybody who says, oh, I have to have all these licenses and I have to have all this stuff, nonsense. There are no licenses. There's nothing.
Now, I have a question though. You're not a physician. You're a physician-owned clinic. Now, I'm familiar with this.
We're a joint physician.
Okay, joint physician. And I'm in the industry, so I understand it, but a lot of people may not understand it. So why don't we get over that hurdle?
Well, people are upset that we're doing this $125. Mm-hmm. So their fight or their argument or their way to attack us is to say, well, we're not a doctor-owned clinic. You're not 100% doctor-owned. And I'm like, well, probably 30% of the doctor practices in the United States aren't 100% doctor-owned. This clinic and this operation happens to be significantly owned by doctors, but it's also owned by me. So it's not 100%. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. That's an argument that's a juvenile. Okay, you're not coming into the practice to see me. You're coming into the practice and you're seeing a doctor. And a doctor that's a good doctor without any discipline, with 30 plus years of experience. These are doctors that are currently practicing. These are doctors that have pain management backgrounds, internal medicine backgrounds, emergency med backgrounds, and they're good doctors. So you don't see me, I don't even work in the clinic.
So that whole argument about you not being an MD owned, 100% MD owned, it's a frivolous argument, ludicrous. And I assume we're seeing these three doctors that are on this banner behind you, right?
Those are the three doctors you'll see.
Okay.
And the bottom line here is if you're charging $250 and you're mad that I'm coming in and doing this at $125 with the doctors, so what? You're mad, but don't come up with silly arguments. There's no way a patient is going to know walking into this office that it's not 100% doctor owned, unless someone tells them or they look it up in the corporate filings. Why would anybody know? But you won't know that when you go into a hospital that's not 100% doctor owned. There's no such thing as doctor owned hospitals anymore. There's no such thing as most of these urgent care clinics are not 100% doctor owned. They're corporate owned clinics. The day of private practice is, why sad to say, is a thing that's sort of going away. I mean, hospitals are buying up private practices everywhere. The thing you care about is when you come in here, you're going to see a competent physician who's going to look at your records and give you a qualification based on those records. And that's all that really matters. There's no difference between the qualification you get here at $125 and the one you get somewhere else at $250 or $500 or $1,000. The only difference is you've had wallet reduction surgery.
And I can tell you what, that's not a big enough, there is no difference for them charging 50% more than you are. I'd rather come in here, and I can attest to what Paul's saying about that 30% mark. That's very accurate, being in the business. Now, let me ask you this. One thing I like about your clinic is your expertise, so I want you to cover how you've been an advocate, not just for medical marijuana, but for pain management, and then how you have clinics set up, and people may not realize that you actually have pain clinics, low T clinics, and so it's an easy transition for you.
Well, yeah, I had 2 pain clinics, and now I just have the one in Venice. I had one in Fort Myers. We started them in 2007. We lived through the pill mill crisis. I spent 18 months at the board, in front of the Board of Medicine. This is where the MDs go when they get in trouble. I went there to testify every other month for 18 months to build rules and regulations for pain management, and to be an advocate for the patients that couldn't afford the $1,000 doctor who was going to do all these interventional procedures and all this kind of stuff. These are the patients we see. We've seen the patients that are on medication management, that have gone through all the failed procedures, the surgeries, and they end up worse or no better, but they end up with a lot less money. Look, opioids are a double-edged sword. There's no doubt. They're a necessary evil. For patients that need them, they're the difference between living and not living. This is, it's sad to see this war on opioids, but yes, I understand there's been a lot of misuse and abuse, but a lot of people that need them. But there's a lot of people that don't need them or need less of them if they could be on medical marijuana. And I started fighting for medical marijuana long ago. Back when they first came out with the amendment years ago, the issue was who's going to help. And I put up billboards. My doctors and we put up billboards up and down I-4, I-75, Yes on 2. We were out there working it. Okay, so when people come in and say, "Gee, I'm compassionate," I said, "Well, show me your history of how compassionate you've been." These are all Johnny-come-latelys. Some of them are from out of state. Some of them are just jumping on the bandwagon. And look, there's probably 500,000 people that could use medical marijuana in the state of Florida, and everybody's looking at the dollar sign. And if you take greed out of your practice, you can still make a decent living, and you don't have to not sleep at night. And this is the key. Anybody who's charging $250 is greedy. And if you take the greed out of the practice, you can do it for $1.25.
And I love the fact that you've been an advocate for this, and that you've been working, like you said, since 2007 with the pain management. Now, let's bring up what happens. I want to cover the 90-day period. What happens when a person comes in to see you? Do they have to wait 90 days? Can they transfer from their existing medical prescription doctor to you and count that towards their 90 days? So why don't we clear that all up?
You got to understand, right now, Amendment 2 passed back in November, and it became official on January 3rd, but the language gave them 6 months to develop rules and regulations, and actually 9 months to get the cards. But there was an existing ordinance called low THC cannabis, and that was allowed for only like 3 diseases and terminal, and it was a very low THC, and it was put together by the legislators trying to fight the Amendment 2 both times. It's a silly piece of legislation. It hasn't helped many. Most doctors didn't sign up to be involved in it because it was just ridiculous. Some did, and some of those are touting that we signed up, 8 months ago or a year ago. But this isn't the thing. This is full-strength medical marijuana. This is a whole new ballgame. But until they come out with those rules and regulations, we're all stuck with the low THC rules and regulations, which require a 90-day relationship. Now, they may do the same thing with full strength. So, yeah, now's the time to build your relationship with your doctor and start that relationship so that when when the product becomes available and that's still a little bit off, that you'll be able to get it. But don't rush and don't panic. It's all sort of fluid right now. But the faster you get your records together or get us your records released, we're going to help you out. But this thing about queuing up and the line out the door, that's just not necessary. Just if you go to our website and you look at MD for MM, go to Express Treatment. Express Treatment means just read the thing. We want you to print out 2 documents, fill them out and fax them to us. Let us build your chart. We're going to get you qualified if you have the records and the supporting information and the conditions that qualify. That's our job. We're not here to tell you no, but we will tell you no if you don't meet we're not going to do things that we're not supposed to do. But we will really work hard for you. We've done it for pain management patients for years, and that's what we do. We've been doing it forever.
Now, does a person have to start over that 90-day period if they come from the other medical prescription type doctors?
Well, yeah, your relationship is with the doctor that's actually qualifying you and entering you into the registry. So, yeah, that's right now, that 90-day period, if you have a doctor and you're already qualified, that's where you stay. I mean, I don't recommend switching. And I'm not looking to hurt anybody else's practice that has existing patients. I'm not looking to take patients away from a qualifying physician. We're looking for the new patient that doesn't want to pay a lot of money, wants a fair, compassionate price. And yes, I have patients in pain management that have had 3-year relationship with the doctors. So they're already, that rule has already been met. Same thing with the low T guys. They've all had relationships for 3, 6, 5 years. So they have a relationship with the doctor. What we're looking at is the new patients that are coming in that are looking for medical marijuana. Yeah, they're going to have to come in and see the doctor, and that's when the clock starts ticking.
But any patient of yours that is a low T patient or pain management, they have that relationship.
They meet that requirement
so
already.
Good.
So they're good, but then they still have to go through the qualifying exam for medical marijuana. But that's a no-brainer.
So if I'm a new patient, I come in and I set it all up, I go through the express process, I pay you $125. Am I going to have several exams up to that 90-day mark, or how's that going to work?
The key is that when we have your chart built, we're going to call you in and start and charge you and see the doctor. If we build your chart and you don't qualify just based on what we see in the chart, we're going to have a conversation with you, see if you can find more information, see what you can do to assist us. Maybe we'll have to send you out for an MRI or something like that to update your records. But we can do that at an inexpensive price. I mean, we've been working with low-income pain management patients for 10 years. We know how to help you. We know how to get things done. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get charged when your chart's complete, and we realize that you have everything in your chart you need to get qualified. And then you go through the formality of meeting with the doctor and developing that relationship and him issuing the qualification.
Now, if I come in, I get the exam, and after 90 days, I want to go ahead and get my medical marijuana prescription. Do I come in one more time to see you? And then from that point, how do I get my prescription filled from these dispensaries?
Well, first of all, we never use the word prescription because prescription is what's controlled by the Drug Enforcement Administration. And as far as they're concerned, medical marijuana is a controlled substance 1 and is illegal.
Okay. That's so good to know.
So it's a recommendation.
Okay, recommendation.
You get qualified by the doctor and you're given a recommendation. And that's what counts. So your recommendation is what gets you. The process of how you actually are going to go to the dispensary and all that, right now everything's very limited because the dispensaries are based on the low THC statute. And so now the state is struggling to figure out how to add more dispensaries, where they're going to be, and what the rules and regulations are going to be for them. So there's a lot of unknown at this very moment. The only thing you want to do is just get yourself into the system. And from there, we're going to keep you informed of how everything's changing. But remember one thing, if they change the rules where you have to see a pain management doctor for chronic pain or intractable pain, there's only one doctor around here that's going to be able to do that for you, and that's because we have a pain clinic. So remember this, you may have gone and gotten qualified by another doctor, and it may have been for a pain condition, but that may not be valid when the rules come out, because chronic pain is only treatable by licensed pain management clinics. And this is a big thing. You can't advertise for pain patients in the state of Florida unless you're a pain clinic. So we have you covered there. If you're in the system with us, we have a pain doctor, we have a pain clinic, your relationship is there, and life is good. But you wait 90 days and they come out with rules that say, any patient with chronic pain that's being qualified, because chronic pain isn't listed in the language in the amendment. Okay, it's an other, and only certain people can diagnose and certify chronic pain. So you've got to be really careful. If you have a chronic pain issue, you don't want to be seeing any of these other doctors. You need to be at a pain clinic where the doctor has the ability to certify you and meet those requirements. And again, we don't know what the rules are going to be, but I just don't think they're going to be allowing chronic pain patients to go anywhere they want. Right now, the current statute is very strict, and the current laws are in effect. So intractable pain, chronic pain, these marijuana treatment clinics that are opening up all over, they don't meet the requirements to treat chronic pain, and they can't even advertise it.
Now, Gary asked a question: is there a list of doctors that have signed up? But I don't think there is a list.
There actually is a list of doctors. It's getting bigger every day now. I mean, it's growing leaps and bounds, and that's because everybody's now signing up for it because of full strength. And that list is at the Office of Compassionate Care. You Google Florida Office of Compassionate Care, and you'll come to this Department of Health link, and you can look at the list of the doctors that are approved.
All right, Kelly has a question. I'm not sure if you can handle it, but she says, what happens if you have a bunch of MRIs and proof that you've been in some major physical problems that you've been going through for many years? How do you know if they're qualified? That's basically what she's saying.
Well, MRIs are great, but if you have the reports that were issued...
also bipolar and mental problems.
Well, with pain management, you're dealing with a lot of issues. I mean, you may get in an accident where your car rolls over 12 times, you have all these cervical issues or thoracic issues, and the list goes on and on. But you're also going to have depression and stuff like that because your life has changed dramatically. Look, we've been dealing with it for 10 years. We've seen it all. But when it comes to the conditions, if you go to our website, we list conditions, and I guarantee you, based on what she's saying, that you'll see her conditions.
And that's good to know. So if they go to md4mm.com, you list conditions that may qualify you.
That's correct.
Okay. Now let's do this. One other thing I like besides the pain management experience with your clinic, the low T, is how many clinics you have. So if I'm in Venice, but I'm stuck up in Sarasota, but I originally came in Venice, can I go to Sarasota and see the doctor there in regards to medical marijuana at your clinic there?
Once you're in our system, we'll be able to figure all that out. But we're dealing with no rules, and we don't know what they're going to be. But we will keep our patients advised. We will make sure that they stay qualified. But this is a time where when you pick your clinic and you pick your doctor, you should be really careful. And I'm not saying that the other doctors aren't good. I'm not saying, but especially when it comes to chronic and intractable pain, you need to be really, really careful. This is a time where you have to be. I mean, you're doing this interview in a state licensed pain management clinic, and this is what we do here. And so we can talk about it, we can advertise it, and I'm just saying, be really careful out there. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to pay $250 when they don't have to. I mean, I don't think anybody said, well, gee, I'm going to go pay $250 because I prefer to pay $250. But the bottom line is there are lots of clinics, probably all good doctors. They probably all, they all probably want to be helpful. But you just have to separate the greed, and you have to make sure that you have the right doctor, especially if you're in types of pain.
All right, so why don't we cover where all of your clinics are? Because I cover a huge area. Why don't you tell where your clinics are located and how they can get a hold of you and start the process?
Well, it's real simple. We're in Fort Myers off of Daniels. We're in Venice off of Jacaranda. We're in Sarasota off at Fruitville out by the interstate. Brandon off of Causeway Boulevard, and in Pinellas Park off of Park Boulevard. But the best way to do everything is, look, we all know why we're a busy clinic. We're busy. We're trying to build records. We're trying to do all this stuff. I'm trying not to add 50 people because then it no longer becomes affordable. So what we're trying to do is get you to go to our express treatment on our website at MD4MM and fill out the 2 forms. Fax them to us. Don't email them to us because they're in the email system. They're going to have your social security number on it, and you don't want that in an email floating around. Fax it to us because the fax goes from your place to our place. So once we have those, we can start building your records. We'll get you an appointment once we have your records built. We have certain telephone hours where you can call and talk. I will be adding an email address to the site so that if you have questions, because we're going to have limited telephone hours, and we don't want walk-ins. We're trying to do this without having 80 people outside the front door and without the rest of the patients that are here for other reasons being interrupted. So work with us. We'll keep this affordable. We'll get you seen, and we'll make your qualifications stick.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people on here asking questions and stuff, which I'm not sure if Paul will go back. They did ask, somebody must have missed it, can you transfer from your existing medical marijuana doctor without restarting the waiting period? No, you have to restart the waiting period and start a relationship with your clinic.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure of that, but right now the way everything's written, it really says that you have to have a 90-day relationship with the doctor, and the doctor that's qualifying you. So yeah, I would imagine, and again, the rules are going to change, and they're going to have to deal with all these certain little issues, but you sort of have to be patient. The rules they don't exist, and they're coming.
Yeah, and I almost think too, 90 days might not be an issue because medical dispensaries for the high THC.
No, well, it's basically full strength medical marijuana.
Full strength may not have it in 90 days.
Yeah,
and how does that work?
Yeah.
With the pharmacists, pharmacies.
Well, no pharmacies.
No pharmacies, right?
No pharmacies, no
The
prescription.
dispensaries.
These are dispensaries. Again, there's only 7 of them right now. So,
Okay.
so the bottom line is the state's trying to expand that. This is a situation that is so fluid that if anybody says they have the answer, probably don't have the right answer.
Yeah.
So the key for patients is to let us build their charts, get them in the system, get their 90-day period started, and the rest of it, we will keep you advised as we learn. And anybody who says they know what's exactly happening doesn't have a clue.
All right. What kind of closing remarks with your web address and whatever you want to say for the closing there, Paul?
Look, bottom line is a $125 qualification is going to be just as good as a $250. And in some cases, especially when you're dealing with pain, it's going to be a lot better. But the bottom line is this is not rocket science. It's not neurosurgery. Good doctors, good staff. Yes, I own part of the business. So what? I'm not your doctor. You probably won't see me. I don't even have an office in the clinics. But at the end of the day, good doctors, inexpensive compared to anywhere else, and you're going to get the same care and qualification.
Well, I can tell you, Jerry's wife is on it right now. She's on your website. One other question somebody asked, I think 2 people have asked this. What about people with mental health issues? I know you said go to your site, it tells you everything that's covered. Do you know if that's on there by any chance?
Well, the mental health issues would be PTSD, and that's going to be a tough one. I mean, it really is outside of PTSD, and I think whatever is also on the site. But I think it may take, psychiatrists' involvement and recommendations from a psychiatrist to us. But, these are all things, if you have a psychiatrist, you're seeing a psychiatrist, you're having a good relationship, if the psychiatrist approves and gives us a confirmation, I don't see an issue.
Okay.
But, there's a lot of other that they have not, and other is a dangerous thing. If you don't, for a doctor, because doctors make lousy house painters. So when they qualify you for something that's not defensible, that the Board of Medicine will not take them up on a discipline, and they can't defend it against the experts. And if you've ever been in front of a Board of Medicine disciplinary hearing, it's not a pretty place for doctors. So none of my doctors have been there, and they don't want to be there. So we will always err on the side of caution on their license, but we really will try to help you.
Okay. And you guys, I just wanted to let you know too, I actually come to Paul's low T clinics. I never see Paul. I see the doctor or the assistant out there. So I've been coming, I think, 2.5 years, and I've gotten great service. Low T, if you're 50 like me, and I think I've had one of the lowest low Ts out there, it's great. So consider Paul for that too. But yeah, take them up on it. The express process is very simple, and I know that
we're going to do all the work.
Yeah,
it's as simple as this. We're going to do the work. You just have to get us the approval to do it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to charge you to do the work. We're only going to charge you when we build that chart, and we believe that chart will pass the doctor's muster for qualification. Otherwise, there's no charge.
Awesome. All right, and if you want to get to his website, I have the link above this video. Just click it. It'll go straight there, or you can type it in. And by all means, share this with your friends and get the word out, because Paul's a good guy. I like him. Thanks a lot, guys.